Okay, 2 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds. All right, guys, welcome to Dot Connect Wednesdays, episode 91, The Rise of the Middle Class. My co-pilot's not here. He would have been Champ Bobbitt, or he still is, but he's just not here tonight. And of course, I'm Steve Bayonne. Sonia is not in the chat, so we're just gonna go. Tonight's all about the rise of the new middle class and how it's being powered by crypto. Okay. All right. So let's be real, guys. The middle class that we grew up learning about is dying. Okay. It was built on stable jobs, salaries, pensions, and office gigs. Okay. So you worked 40 years, you collected your retirement, and you hope inflation didn't eat your savings. That's the old guard. All right. So now we have to understand that this old system is dying. Right. So let me break down why the system is collapsing right in front of us. The first thing is globalization and outsourcing. All right. So jobs that once created security were now sent overseas to cut costs. All right. So these centralized systems found a way to just increase profit and started to strip away the workforce. And this was slowly being done over the course of the last 3 decades. All right. So this is all about profit, guys. And if you know my saying, it's not personal, it's just profitable. Okay. So this is where we're at right now. Next thing, automation and AI. Technology is replacing the entire organizations, right? So routine work is being done by code. This is what we're facing right now. We have stagnant wages, right? So salaries haven't kept up with inflation for decades. The cost of living is on the rise, and paychecks aren't matching that. Broken retirement promises. Pensions are disappearing, 401ks are market dependent, and most people aren't saving enough to retire. All right, so understand our parents were at the Social Security era. Then it pivoted over to 401k. Social Security was only really supposed to be, but for so long, right? What happened was the average age of people started to increase, right? Science, technology, lifestyle changes. They figured we all probably be dead by 50. So if that was to hold true, Social Security probably would have still been around. So they pivoted to create 401k as we know it today, but 401k is market dependent. And if you know anything about the market, it's not personal, it's just profitable. Again, you have corporate dependence. The old model, right? Your livelihood depended on pleasing your bosses, staying in line, and surviving layoffs. So this is the mindset of the current generation and the prior generation. And then you have a fragile economy. All right. So COVID was the straw that broke the camel's back. It proved how quickly jobs could vanish. Layoffs, instability, centralization created a fragile system that rewards the top and leaves the rest scrambling. Again, it's not personal, it's just profitable. All right. So let's not forget if centralized corporations and political elites were willing to ship millions of manufacturing jobs overseas just to boost profits and cut labor costs, what do you think they're going to do with AI and automation? You can answer that in the chat. So they don't need to outsource anymore because they're building machines that don't take lunch breaks. They don't unionize. They're not in unions, right? They don't ask for health insurance. There's no sick days, guys, with these machines. So that effectively falls right in the line with what they're looking for. So again, to increase profit. Hopefully, with the increase in profit, they can decrease what they're charging for the goods and services. But do you think they would do so? Maybe, maybe not. It's not personal. All right. So the same decision makers who once replaced the entire local economy with cheaper overseas labor are now investing in replacing knowledge workers, creatives, service workers, and even managers with code. And guys, I've seen the technology. It can replace high level execs, even CEOs out the box. All right. So here's some current stats for us to all know. Up to 73 million jobs could be lost to automation by 2030. This is McKinsey. All right. 40% of the global jobs are already exposed to AI as of 2024. Okay. Rising to 60% in developed economies. So when I tell you that we should be looking outwards because that's where the opportunity is, that's one of the main reasons. Slower market adoption, right? Still that pace that we're accustomed to, cost of labor, everything, cost of living, right? This is why I say the first would be the third and the third would be the first. These centralized guys are looking for ultimate rule at this point, and it's working. All right. So 41% of companies globally plan to reduce headcounts due to AI integration. And that's from the World Economic Forum. All right. So where does that leave the current working economy? Fewer job openings, more part-time gig work with no benefits, because this is what you're seeing right now. People are trying to, work a few different gigs just to make ends meet. Increasing mental health issues from economic uncertainty. So we're doing mental health crisis in this country. A population slowly realizing that the ladder they've been climbing doesn't even reach the building anymore. Think about that. So, not telling you this for fear, it's just reality, guys. All right. I'm not out here trying to fear monger because I'm going to give you the solution to what I'm seeing. But for those who are aware and kind of awake, you can adapt and also lead. And this is why we created Skyton Academy AI Visionaries Network. All right. So here's one of the biggest issues, guys. When you start to see a job market failing and dwindling, and then you mix that with tough economic times, there's this thing called inflation. Inflation eats your life savings. All right. So here's the hard, cold truth. Inflation silently destroys your purchasing power. So if you had $100,000 in the bank back in 2000, the same 100K doesn't buy you the same thing. You're actually buying less. This is your purchasing power decreasing. So in the 1970s, inflation in the US peaked to over 13%. All right. So in 1979, it basically wiped out fixed income retirees who depended on stable savings. All right. So this is our parents, guys, for some of us. All right. In 2022, inflation hit a 40-year high at 9.1%, and millions of Americans approaching retirement saw their 401k values and costs of food, housing, and healthcare skyrocket. Understand, if wages aren't keeping up with inflation, you can't save your way to wealth. No other class of people do this that are successful in this country. They don't rely on their paychecks to make ends meet. You understand? It's not personal. All right. It's just the American way. So even safe savings accounts offer returns below the inflation rate, meaning your money loses value year after year every time it sits in the bank. So last year, what did they do? Apple came out with a product. They offered 5%, and every banking institution came out with a 5%. They've since reduced it. So if anybody can drop in the chat, what are the banks giving now? Because I don't even know. I don't operate in that paradigm. But I know it's less than 5% now. So for as long as inflation is running higher than that, you're always going to be losing money. You have to put your money to work for you. Okay. So here's the real impact. People in their 60s had to delay retirement, pick up side gigs, and downsize homes they spent decades paying off. Here's the issue, guys. Our home prices are so much now. So even if you wanted to sell your home to go into another home to downsize, it will still cost you almost as much as what you're going to walk away with. So the entire system is underwater. Okay. This is what you call a perfect storm. All right. Fixed income earners like retirees felt their purchase power disappeared while rent, groceries, and gas soared through the roof. Okay. I hear this from my mom all the time. Every day she's like, oh, the gas bill, the this bill, the that bill. I'm not on fixed income, so I could make my adjustments and wiggle. It's a lot even on our end. But again, when you're not on fixed income and you work for yourself and you could be mildly successful, it tends to work out, right? You don't really focus on that. So I can feel for people that are on fixed income. And if you can't generate more, all you can really do is figure out ways to cut costs at this point, right? And there's many ways to do it. It's a matter of, how inconvenienced do you want to be in a convenience culture? Okay. So inflation is a tax on savers, and most people don't even realize it until it's too late. So you ever hear the statement where they say wealthy people don't keep money in the bank? Their money is constantly working for them, right? So they're in different investment vehicles. The thing with us is by the time we get into these investment vehicles, they've been grandfathered in already in the stock market, the bonds, all these things, right? So they have super low entries. Our best fighting chance we have is with cryptocurrency and emerging tech. It's the most upside, right? And this is the fourth industrial revolution. So if you figure every other industrial revolution prior to this was triggered by one thing, and it was technology. So that's what Skyton prides itself on, is really just showing you guys the technology, helping you make informed decisions. We never push investments on you, right? It's always knowledge first. Okay. So the old system told you to save, but they didn't tell you that inflation would at some point eat the savings alive. So now let's get to the solution. The rise of the new middle class powered by cryptocurrency. All right. There's going to be a few projects I'm going to talk about here. Okay. And before I get into those projects, just hold on. Get your pen and paper ready. All right. Let me just pause real quick, guys. Hold on. I'm just letting people in the room. All right. So, guys, here's four projects we're going to go over, and I'm going to show you where this new gig economy is coming from. Okay. The first one is going to be Helium Mobile. So, here's what it is: it's a decentralized wireless network where users contribute mobile coverage to earn mobile tokens. All right. So, the pros of this is passive income potential, real world infrastructure, growing adoption with mobile plans. The con to this is it requires hardware setup, hotspots are mobile, and the income varies by the demand and the location. All right. So in order for you to earn with Helium Mobile, you have to do what? You have to install and operate a Helium hotspot or mobile device in a supported area. And this is how you'll earn. So what we're moving into now, guys, is we're moving into a decentralized world. So remember, in the first segment, I told you that Every issue we had was because of a centralized authority. When you give people or individuals the ability to control too much of a market, it creates instability because the choices they make have a lasting effect on all of us. And if they don't care about people and they just care about profit, they're going to continue to outsource. They're going to continue to innovate with AI and automation. They don't care if a workforce doesn't exist. You understand? They just don't, right? So we're getting to a point now where the government's going to have to step in and intervene. And I would think probably by a year and a half, we're going to start to get universal basic income. That's the only way to keep blood out of the streets. Okay. Now, here's the second project. Hold on, guys. All right. So we got Gitcoin. So Gitcoin. All right. So it's a public goods funding platform for developers, educators, and creators. All right. So it's great for coders, writers, and open source contributors. Transparent grants and bounties. All right. Some of the cons for this is it's highly competitive. It requires strong work submission and self direction. So the way that you earn with this particular platform is you complete bounties, you write governance proposals, or you submit open source contributions. So guys, what we're seeing right now is you no longer have to work for somebody in order to get paid for your intellectual property. You can start to put these things out on the open market and everybody can start to benefit from it. And as people use your source or whatever you wrote or your proposals, you start to get paid for it. All right. So now we're moving from asking for permission, right, to being permissionless. Understand, this is important, guys. All right. So let me take a step back. The future doesn't belong to the centralized authorities anymore. It belongs to what they call contributors. All right. So the new middle class is rising, not from resumes or interviews, it's from wallets, DAOs, and ownership. So now you no longer need permission from HR. You earn by contributing to a decentralized community. All right. So you work for a DAO. What's a DAO? A decentralized autonomous organization. This is going to be the new business structure moving forward in this economy. All right. So bankless DAOs pay contributors in crypto for writing, design, governance, and more. Okay. You can build open source tools. For example, developers on Ethereum can earn via grants or protocol incentives. You manage communities, right? Lens protocol. They pay moderators and ambassadors to onboard users. You can publish content to write proposals, to code smart contracts. All right. So your wallet equals your proof of work. Your value is instantly rewarded. You're not just earning, you're owning. Okay. And this isn't just income, it's equity. And it's not just work, it's freedom. So that's the breakdown of how the new middle class is going to look. All right. So the next one I want to focus on is called Lens Protocol. All right. It's a decentralized social media platform. All right. So it's content ownership and monetization. Let's make sure we're still recording. All right. So content ownership. All right, guys. Now, some of the cons to this is it's still an early stage. Remember, I told you we are going through a shift in cryptocurrency. We first have to get what? Stablecoin regulations. There's a few things that need to happen before these gig economies really start to open up. But here's the plus to that. Because you guys are already in position, you can start working in the gig economies today, right? Because one of the things about, and especially Helium Mobile, is the sooner you get involved in the projects, the sooner you start to get rewarded from the projects, right? So they reward early adopters first. So this is why we can forget the formal 9 to 5. You can get involved in this decentralized system in various areas. Then the other thing that I know that we can set up is we can set up what's the name of that? When you're looking to hire people, a agency. Somebody could drop it in the chat for me. You know, I'm not in the job market, so I've lost all terminology associated with the job market. Recruiter is one, right? You can start to teach people this new economy and get rewarded for it. Similar to what Skyton Academy is doing. But you'll be focused on whatever your niche is. You understand? So early, it's too early. The audience and the demand is still growing, right? So we're going to have some issues there. And then the way that you earn with Lens Protocol is you publish content, you grow engagement, you mint collectibles, and then you interact with desocialized social media apps. Okay. This is the new economy. The next one is going to be Bankless DAO. It's a media and educational DAO, right? That rewards contributors in a bank token. So that's the name of the token. It's called the Bank, BANK. All right. So some of the pros with this is the creators control their content. They monetize it via NFTs or token-based engagement. Another con, and the same con, is early stages. The audience and the demand is still growing. All right. And then the way that you earn is you publish content, you grow engagement, you mint collectibles, and then you interact in decentralized apps. So guys, the same situation is happening right now on social media. We post, we don't really monetize unless we pay them, right? And then they open up the monetization. It makes no sense. So the only reason that they're doing this and they're allowing us to monetize, one, it keeps engagement up, and two, it's a big money, it's a big revenue source. But in the same sense, because they're centralized, we have to deal with the rules and regulations that they've set forth. So I've seen a lot of guys go from making income to being off of Instagram and YouTube, shadow banned, or demonetized. So that's some of the issues with the centralized authorities. When you start to talk your talk, your income's gone. Understand? It's a sidebar. I just came across this article and I started doing the research a few weeks ago, and I went down a rabbit hole. So I noticed a couple initiatives between Google and Amazon being linked to some central intelligence out in Israel, right? So when you start looking at the security makeup of these technology companies here in America, you start to see that they all have one thing in common. They have a lot of ex-CIA sitting on these boards. They have a lot of Israeli intel, right? And we could tell because if you say anything about these guys, it's instantly is flagged. Understand? So when I noticed that Google was one of the big contributors, I mean, they're paying billions of dollars to be involved in this. I don't know what they're getting back from it, right? I truly don't know what benefits them to do that to the core of people that actually make them the money. So that part is burning me a little bit. So by next month, I'm going to start to pivot where I am releasing my Gmail account. I'm no longer using it. And inside the academy, we're going to show you guys the decentralized email apps that are available to all of us that don't hold data, understand, that don't sell data, that don't tell you what or when or how to say things. So it's all yours, every single piece of it. And this is the biggest thing that we have to worry about right now, because all we have left after they've taken everything from us is IP, right? Intellectual property. You need to get as much IP as possible and bring it over to the decentralized world so you can start to monetize. Because for as long as we're having these talks on here, they could duplicate me and my likeness and put it out there. And it's well within the terms and conditions. It's in the black and white, but what are you going to do? Right? So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. By next month, you're going to start to see correspondence with us. This is the new email address, correspondence. This is the new place that we're logging on. Some of these systems we just have to use because of the sheer reach, right? So when you start looking at the cons of the actual systems that are in place right now, we just don't have enough users. You understand? But for something as simple as an email, I would urge every single body, Let's start to move over to a decentralized email protocol. Because at the end of the day, Gmail is not doing anything for you. Just had this conversation with my wife earlier when she was going into some design apps and things like that. And she was like, I noticed that everything was sign in with your Google. So you're starting to see how much more centralized and how much more power they're looking for. You no longer can even use your own username and password or the convenience of just saying, I'll just click it. I'm guilty of that. Right. But what you're doing right there is you're being put in the system. And now that system is being automated and AI is laying right on top of it. It's able to decipher everything about you in real time. So when I book a flight, somehow it's connected to everything. Yeah, it's convenient, but then I get a message to say, hey, you should leave at this time. I didn't even ask for that. See where I'm going with it? So imagine the flip side and how dangerous that could be. My wife even had intel on me one day that gave her my flight stuff. Not that it mattered, but then you start to see like they're starting to make the connection points to other people. What if I didn't want that information to get out? Who else has this information? So now you enter an airport from coming out the country, or you're traveling somewhere and they grab your phone from you now. AI and automation could they plug that phone up in 2 seconds. I've seen the information. I've seen the protocol that they're putting these phones. It takes seconds to differentiate what you've been saying, and it labels you. So we're one step closer to the social credit system, right? Can't speak against government. Democracy? It's never been that. Definitely a republic. That's how I was taught in school. If I didn't remember anything in school, I can tell you that this place is a republic. It's tyranny. And it's not, this ain't a Trump thing. This is just the have and the have nots. So when you look, and I want everybody to go back, go look at the inauguration day and look who was behind him, right? These aren't his friends. These are just tech oligarchs now. So when you start to see the fall of the Vatican, right? When you start to see trade wars with big nations and countries pitting themselves against each other, this is nothing more than those guys crippling the old guard, the World Economic Forum, the WHO organization, right? Yeah, at one point I was championing this situation and I saw it quick. I'm like, no, hold on. We're leaving one set of tyranny, the old guard, and they're introducing us to this new centralized guard. The new centralized guard is actually more evil and more powerful. We just know who they are, right? The old guard, we didn't really know who these guys were. They stood in the shadow. So now they're starting to kick up a little bit of dust. Understand, but when you start to put this technology behind it, guys, we are moving to a dystopian society. It's happening right in front of our eyes, and nobody's doing anything about it. I'm at the airport. I see person after person after person doing biometrics for no obvious reason outside of they just put the camera there. Shit don't make sense. There's an agent there asking you for your ID. He's working alongside of AI right now. His job is on borrowed time. Resist. Just resist. What's the point? Because there's going to be a time that we're not going to have a choice in the matter. And then you're going to look back and say, yo, damn, when did this happen? You're part of the problem. People are lifting their kids up, happy to like, yeah, look in the camera. It's like, this kid doesn't even have an ID. What? I ask the questions why. So I opt out of it. And they're cool. When you opt out of it, they don't bring you to a back room or do anything. They're like, oh, no problem. Shit, you probably giving them, you keeping them employed. Because why do we need TSA to do that? Literally, you don't think in the next 6 months they could just get rid of those guys and everybody would just acquiesce to just putting their face up on something? No, do your job. I'm also opting out of the swivel joint. You know, I travel with my family and they're like, oh, they send you through the other one. So they don't even want to put the kids through that. So think about that. Why wouldn't they put a family with their children through that machine that spins around us? But when you're by yourself, you got to go through it. Nah, I'll do the pat down. And it's wild because now they pat me down and you could see how much they want to inconvenience you because they're just sitting there talking. And I'm like, I'm cool as a fan because I got the time. I'm going early. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever the case. You knew that they weren't doing anything but shooting the breeze. So it's like, why couldn't I just walk through the metal detector that every family could walk through? You just want to make it inconvenience for me. See what I'm saying? We have the power and the control to move this in any direction that we want. So I'm hoping that by the time everybody that's listening to this is laid off from their job, figure out that the gig economy is the new decentralized economy, and you have time to not only make money, but now you have time to think, that we could be done with that old guard. You understand? And I told you guys this years ago. I said, listen, if you're not on the internet getting paid for every keystroke, then you're not moving correctly in the next 3 to 5 years. And the opportunity is in front of us now, because all we have to do is we just have to tap in with these systems right now, understand how they work. And I'm not saying that the ones I just gave you are going to be the systems of the future, but did anybody see the news about Helium Mobile and their partnership with AT&T? I'm actually getting rewarded more now because we have partnership with T-Mobile. So that means there are more phones. AT&T is bigger than T-Mobile, or as big. They're going to partner with all the big tech companies, mobile companies. This is the people's network. This is how you close off and you offer more data to people. So all I did was I just researched it. We don't have enough data out here. So when you start to deploy people, it's cheaper, it's faster, and it's more efficient way. And on top of it, you're just doing the right thing because it's decentralized and everybody can earn. I accumulated probably over, I won't give the exact number, but millions of mobile tokens. And if anybody's in the chat, put a one of if you accumulated without even putting up any money, just based on information that was given to you by Skyton Academy years ago. So what are we doing right now? We could have cashed out when the price went up, but I told you, hold on, it hasn't even started yet. Helium Mobile now has a free cell phone plan. Is anybody aware of that? We shouldn't be paying for cell phone at all, right? The cost of the phone is one thing, but the data and how they monetize it, we should be talking on these phones for free. There's no autonomy. They use everything, our photos. Every app gets to use all our data. You ever say no to a terms and conditions on an app? What happens? It's not even an option. This is how I tell you that this government doesn't care about people, because why wouldn't you make it an option to share your data or not? If you're not paying for the service or the product, you are what? The product or service. At what fucking point is it if you're paying for the product or service, you are still the product or service? Shit dumb. Yeah, I can sell t-shirts for days. Straight up. Yo, just give me a heat press and a couple parks here and there, and I'll take it back to the essence. We are paying for the product and service, and they are still utilizing our data. We have no way of opting out of anything. Y'all see where this shit is going? All right. But nobody has a problem with this. Nobody has a problem with this issue. Keeping us distracted. So just to recover, the bankless DAO is the bank token. It's a media and educational platform, DAO, decentralized autonomous organization that rewards contributors in a bank token. All right. So this is great for writers, designers, marketers, community leaders. So guys, if you're writing, if you're producing content, I am telling you that these guys are going to just mimic you with AI in the next 6 to 12 months. This is all we're seeing right now. I see AI agents online. You can't even tell if they're real or fake. Fan only fan, same thing. Those girls aren't even real. I heard a story. I had a meeting the other day with a gentleman who's in the movie. He does all sorts of things, but he's in production and movies. He was reaching out to some girls that he saw on Instagram that would fit a role that he was trying to fill. He's messaging, like, you got to know who the guy is once you research him, right? And then finally he's like, yo, people are getting back to me, and it's a guy to say, yo, no, she's not real. This is an AI agent that I made, and I just deployed her out there to do some work. So what you're seeing is not even it's not even real, and they're monetizing this right now. So this is what's happening. You can't compete with this. And he showed me the women that he was going after, and he was like, it wasn't anything weird. It just fit the mold. And I'm like, yo, you got to be kidding me. I don't even know a girl that looks like that. And I've been a lot of places. The technology is as bad as it's gonna get right now. You understand? It could only get better. All right. So the future doesn't belong to centralized, it belongs to contributors. All right. So the new middle class is rising, guys, no matter what anybody tells you. Because when people tell you that the middle class is dead and they don't offer you an alternative to it, that's just putting a period at the end of things. And we know how powerful words are, right? Because if you start to ingest that nonsense, you start to feel what? Hopeless. You understand? We have every tool at our disposal to figure out, and I just gave you guys a few to know that this middle class isn't dead. The reason that they're not promoting it is because the next iteration of things is ownership. You understand? The next iteration of things is you getting back your time, right? And COVID was the ultimate, like, it gave the most feedback that anybody needed. You go from having a traditional 9 to 5, having to commute to and from work, to like now being able to work all remotely from home 24 hours a day. And what were people doing? You were getting your job done in less than 8 hours, or 10 if you count the thing. You were getting outside probably a little bit more to do the shit you needed to do, right? Job was still getting done. And then what did they say? They was like, nah, that ain't working because the robots ain't ready yet. The coding's not fully ready to get rid of y'all. So they said, no, you guys have to come to the office 2 days a week, 3 days a week. It's called hybrid, right? You guys were a little upset. Like, what's the point of that? When you start to look at the structure of the 9 to 5, then you start to look at the structure of when kids are in school. Kids actually get out of school before the parent actually gets home. It's by design, right? Because now there's a after school industry, there's a before school industry, right? You have to pay for all of this stuff. So you going to work just to break even. Damn near. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years, man. I feel for people that are in the industry that are defined by their roles. Because what's the first thing we do in America when we meet somebody? What's your name and what do you do? And how do you answer it? You identify by the line of work that you're in. That's the culture that they built in America. So the middle class is rising. It's not being built through resumes anymore. It's not being built through job interviews. It's not being built through promotions. It's being built through wallets, DAOs, and digital ownership. Okay. So in the crypto economy, you don't need a boss. You don't need HR. You don't need permission. You earn by contributing, right? To decentralized networks, open protocols, borderless communities. Okay. So what does it all mean at the end of the day, guys? What does it all mean at the end of the day? Because how many people you think are going to go from this old middle class and actually thrive in the new one? And the one thing I want to warn you guys about the current system now is we have the ability to invest in a lot of protocols right now at entry levels. Some of them could be a little bit risky, right? But I've seen some protocols out there that require a lot of capital to run. And I'm watching Fortune 500 companies buying these things up on major blockchains right now. You understand? And I've seen things go from, maybe you're over on XLM, you might need 10,000 to run a node to 1 million. What average person do you think has 1 million XLM at what? 23 cents. Somebody do the math for me. Think about it. I can name some big protocols right now for you to be a node operator. Those are going to be the people that are rewarded the most, node operators, not the proof of work, proof of stake stuff that you see out there, not this Bitcoin mining situation. They're not rewarding anymore. Node operators, write that down. So next month is my guarantee to you guys as students. Listen, drop a one in the chat if you're not a student in the academy. But my promise to the students, by next month, we are going to learn how to move in decentralized protocols. We're going to learn how to operate nodes. And we've been teaching you this already, but I don't think you guys really understood what we were putting in front of you. All right. So if you're not a student, look to get in here. You understand? I don't think you guys understand the type of things that we were putting in front of you. So when you say it's priceless, I don't even know how big this thing can get because you're talking about an entire economy moving to a decentralized protocol where only a small percentage of people even know what it is, one, or two, even how to operate it. So you have these things called Google's ad situation. You know, that's changed, right? A lot of Google search engine has lost it. They've lost it to what? TikTok. You understand? So when you start to see the battle of TikTok and things like that, it's not a battle. It's not a matter of information. They don't care about the information because they know most of us are brain dead, right? That's not what they're worried about. It's never personal. It's just profitable. So when you start to follow the money, that's all they care about. It was taking up shares of revenue and ads, right? That were going to someone that was super centralized that fed the government the data. Okay. So now when you move that situation, it moves over to a new entity that's no longer controlled by American entity and it's all this other stuff they sell us. It really was just that, guys. They wanted the access to the data because that's what keeps us in line. You understand? We're no longer marching. We're no longer having closed doors conversations. No, social media is the new that's the equity, the social equity. So I'm watching even guys my age. They're like, damn, Steve, kind of admire what I do, but they like, I can't do that because of my employer. So I'm like, so hold on, riddle me this. You can't get online to get social equity. You don't know how important social equity is going to be. Not only aren't you like building your own community online, because I don't know what people think of social media, but my shit is pretty dope. It gives me what I allow it to give me, right? So if your stuff is on dummy time, you got to kind of look at yourself because we don't all have the same feed. Can we agree on that? Right? So my stuff is motivation. My stuff is information. It might be a little bit too much rabbit hole stuff. I'm starting to cut back on that. But that helps me dot connect too. So I'm able to bring things like this back to you guys. So I don't move in fear and start doing all sorts of other stuff. I find solutions, right? The first thing is just follow the money. So the other day when I posted and I said, I'm hearing everybody saying this now. The first is going to be the third is going to be the first. Remember, I told you that, right? I've been saying this. So it's cool. It just spread the message. It's great. Um, we just have to look at things in the opposite, right? You just have to not just try this for the next 30 days. Just don't believe anything you initially hear. Don't believe it. Go research it, right? And then once you research it, then you get different angles of the story, not the world that you're stuck in. I could watch Fox and CNN at the same time and not be moved by none of it. But I can get two sides, right? In order to make informed decisions, guys, you got to see it from all angles or you're stuck in one particular way. So there's a gentleman online, finance guy, John Hope. He got a middle name or something? Hughes, drop his name for me. John Hope, John Bryant Hope, right? Fucking Hope. Is that even his birth name? I did everything but research that part. So I'm on his neck now, right? When I look at the biggest financial platforms, in cahoots with some of these old billionaires, I'm like, listen, these guys have old ways. So a couple years ago, Black Enterprise reached out to somebody. 19 Keys was initially supposed to do this talk in Philly, and something happened. He couldn't make it. So the call came my way, and they were like, yo, can you do it? It was like the day of. I'm like, cool. I'm in. The talk wasn't the thing for me. It was backstage. It was backstage speaking to the owner, son. So when we got to talking, I said, listen, what's your first of all, he was like, do you want to meet what's the guy Lamont? Yeah, I know the guy Lamont. I think he's from Philly too. Drop his name in there. John Hope Bryant. You know the political commentator, Lamont Hill. I'm like, nah, I don't want to meet him. I'm cool. Didn't even look his way. Right? These guys are like classic status quo guys. I don't mix well with them. So I can't. Mark Lamont Hill. Thank you. So I passed on it. So I'm speaking to the owner. I'm like, what kept you guys so relevant? And he says, honestly, it's the younger generation. He was like, that's why we brought you on to start to have these conversations about cryptocurrencies. Like, we have no clue what's going on. So he was like, if it wasn't for the younger generation, Black enterprise would have failed a long time ago because all they thought about was print media, making money through print ads, right? So they end up going digital. They end up adding a few other verticals, and they're where they're at today, still alive because of the younger generation. So the one thing that I've never done at 47 is, I'm not so old that I'm washed up, and I'm not so young that I'm like sleeping either. It's just, for me, it's just this perfect age right now. For me, I can see both sides of it, and I love both sides of it. Right? It's wacky on both ends, but I don't stay stuck on that part. I just look at the genius that's coming out from the younger generation, and a lot of the conservative genius that we've created, or that was created for us, and then whatever I created in my time of creating, and I'm meshing it all together. That's what you have at the academy. So when he tells me that, he tells me the story, and I'll never forget it. He says, "Yeah, my sons are younger, and they're finance whatever, and I'm a typical guy. I just tell them, listen, the blue chip stocks, you know, these guys have this thing, this blue chip stock. It's like his sons had to tell him, he's like, Dad, that stuff is old. He's not watching TV. He's not streaming. Right. So he's thinking cable company, blue chip, like Ford. And he's like, nah, we're driving, electric cars, or we don't watch cable TV anymore. It's no longer network. Right. But he said it and forget it. His basis of getting into these stocks 30, 40, 50 years ago is nothing. These guys are collecting dividends. So this guy, John Hope Bryant, comes on. He every chance he gets, he just, man, this guy irks me, man, because he's not giving people the information to actually um, become free. That's what I'm in this for, right? So he killed crypto in a conversation like, man, this whole thing is like gambling. I got this friend of mine at a conference, and he's worth $15 billion, and they love to validate how much billionaires they know or how much billions they have because they think that equates to smarts, right? Uninformed, you sound dumb to me. I don't care how much money you have. Yeah, you did a great job in whatever you do. So now he puts this thing out there. Then he also says, I clipped the end of the video, but at the end of the video, he says, yeah, but my wife put some money in Bitcoin and she made a ton of money off of it. And then I'm like, and then he separates Bitcoin. He's like, but Bitcoin's a little bit different. But these 20,000 crypto, there's more than 20,000 crypto. So he's already incorrect. Then he goes on to say, but I like blockchain technology. And I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't blockchain and crypto one and the same? You just don't buy the Nike swoosh without the sneaker, right? The shit comes with laces. For the average person who is looking up to these guys like financial gods, you wouldn't even realize they're leading you in a bad way, right? Whether it's directly or indirectly. The one thing I would tell you about these guys is they will not push something that they're not making money on or don't have control over. I don't think he's that dumb. You understand? Then my guy Hughes, that's on here, he dropped something to me because I guess he was in his group prior, and he's telling me all this government funding that this guy gets. If I had to guess, it's probably from the Democrats to teach financial literacy to Black people. Bro, if I would have brought this to any administration, they'd be like, nah, we cool. Like, you not about to liberate people and take them off the tax system. It wouldn't work. Because I always wondered, I'm like, yo, what's this guy's affinity to this Democratic Party? Like, it wouldn't matter what any Republican did. This guy's just always all in. It's not personal, it's just profitable. So then Dwayne tells me, oh, his stuff is basically in short, and damn, Dwayne, you know what? Unmute. Because I don't even want to mince the words. Because I didn't take his class.
Yeah.
Yeah, unmute again. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was investigating, back around the COVID days. I was, just kind of investigating a bunch of different businesses, trucking, um, real estate, whole bunch of different stuff. And came across John Hope Bryant. I've done a bunch of entrepreneurial stuff in the past, right? So I was like, okay, well, let me sign up. They had these classes, and first you meet with a counselor. They determine like what level you're at, and then their foundation has like uh, I forget what they call it, but their goal is to help 1 million Black businesses by a certain year, couple years from now. So they've been at it for a while. So I do the interview with the counselor who's supposed to be, some business wheel, and he says, "Okay, well, I think we should put you, you should start here in this particular class." And it's like just a one-on-one class, and I'm like, I've done all this stuff before. And he's like, yeah, but we like people to start here, whatever. So I started there, and they gave you no game whatsoever. Everything, it's all real estate focused, and it's all like basic plays, and they don't give you the real game. But at the same time, they get to check the box on helping a Black business. And that's where he's collecting his money. So it's more collecting money than really helping the people and giving them the real game to do well in this, coming economy, which what he does has nothing to do with the upcoming economy.
Did it have anything to do with the current economy at that time?
Not really. Not really. It was all old plays. All the plays that they were revealing was all stuff that I've done, a couple decades ago.
So you took me down a rabbit hole on this guy. So check this out, guys. This is in 2017. Operation Hope, a nonprofit organization founded by John Hope Bryant, receives $1.7 million in government grants. Man, this guy's a clown, an absolute clown, right? And the reason I say that is because any chance he gets, he's on the Breakfast Club. Any chance he gets, he's constantly down talking the community, constantly, right? But this is how he builds himself up. You understand? Even to the point where I had that post, there was a little bit of back and forth with a guy on that post where he was like, "Nah, Steve, I agree with everything, but in the way that you addressed him." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm done with this part. Like, let's not create that Black men can't divide situation. The line is in the sand. I'm telling you exactly how I feel about you because you Black. I'm not going to let you off the hook because of what you're doing." So that's the narrative too. We it is always this divide. No, stop doing fuck shit. That's why they don't let me on certain platforms. That's why I can't get booked on anything that's within the culture. Go to Ash Cash. Ask these guys. Ask these guys why. Ask every guy with a major platform. Yo, why is Marketing Guru not on there? Why Champ? Why is Skyton Academy? Why aren't those guys on there? Ask them. You want me to tell you why? Because they get corporate money, right? They play the game. Don't those guys sound like these guys here, just a younger version of them? Right? If I put together a show, even if I had the relationship with Bob Johnson, I'm not going there. I'm not going there because when I was in real estate, I looked towards these guys and I couldn't find no mentorship with these guys. You know, every single thing that I found when they're like, yeah, we have initiatives for young Black developers, everything was a deal 17 million north of that. What are you talking about right now? If you really wanted to help young Black developers, wouldn't you just deploy the money in the inner city? Right? So I got to put together a $30 million deal. Hughes, how easy is that? And I'm not saying that it's not easy. I'm just telling you that that's not where these guys started from. I think they forget where their opportunities were. And if you just told the real story about how you got to where you got, then nobody would be messing with you from the culture. Oh, but now they got EYL. They could ride the coattail a little bit. That's not it. Stop putting these guys on your platform. They don't represent where we need to go. They just don't. They sit in there, they're in the big offices, They're having the same discussions. They're implementing the same stuff and verticals inside of their stuff, but they're not telling us exactly what they're doing and how we could prepare ourselves for that. So this ain't the most powerful talk for somebody that could be in the middle class today. I'm just asking. I'm not talking about fixing your credit. That doesn't matter in the future. I'm not talking about your work history. Again, there's no HR. When I get loans in crypto, when I did, there was no what's your name, what's your credit. When I purchased antennas, there wasn't any what are you gonna do with it? It was already established what I was in it for. When I was accumulating 30,000 tokens a day, because I got in early. When I put the entire academy at that time, all three of us on my back, and not including Champ, right? They executed early, and then we went from 3 to 6 to 9. Y'all get where I'm going with it, depending on where you got on this ride. I've been doing this since day one. We lack leadership, man. We lack morality. These guys have sold us out, man. They just sitting there, like he said, they just checking off boxes, and you getting checks for 1.7. Listen, you give me government funding for 1.7 and see what I do with that. Yeah, this whole shit would be subsidized for y'all. But I don't need government funding, man. Because I know anything that comes from them comes with restrictions, and the way that he built out that program was not to liberate the culture. Tag him in this, send this video to him when we snap it, when we chop it up and get it all fixed. And listen, I had a slow start today because I wasn't willing to go there. I just needed to stick with the subject matter. Usually Champ do the subject matter, and then I come in and do the shit. But I got back on track, and then everybody's coming in late, and this is nuts. So that's the story with this Hope guy. And if anybody can validate if that's even his middle name. $1.7 million for Operation Hope in government grants. Overall public fund, about 15% of the Hope operation budget, with the remaining 85% coming from private sources, including contributions and other gifts totaling, y'all ready for this? $13.9 million. Bro, if you watching this, you nothing but a glorified preacher, man. You just a bloodsucker, man. You not that bright. I'm on to you. He got $13.9 million in 2017. Can you imagine 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 in the last 8 years? And then shit, man, listen, that lady would have won. This guy probably get $100 million grants. He might be a little cooked now with this administration, but I bet you he's making money off the Republican administration, right or wrong. Is he teaching y'all how to do that? We don't lack like discipline. We just lack like people who care for us enough, man. We just really lack information because I know we know how to hustle. We know how to grind. I got all that. You know what I'm saying? We just don't know how to structure it correctly for the game that's being played by us, for us, against us, and all of it. That's the piece that they never gave us. Why? This guy gets $14 million to just a fund, and then he's on here talking about all this money that he got. He got what? Unfollow that guy, man. And then he gets on the Breakfast Club. Y'all seeing how all these systems is like conspiring against us and not for us? Am I tripping? I'm just asking. Am I giving off young Malcolm in these? That's what I was going for. I can't, man. Yo, there's so many of our own kind working against us, man. We don't even realize it. We don't even realize it. And y'all asking me to like mince my words about why I felt the way I felt. Man, I only had a minute and 30 seconds with this guy. He ate up like a minute of it. So I really had 30 seconds. And you telling me the way I addressing me on how I should address this guy, the preacher? All right, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. So, guys, your wallet becomes your proof of work. Your rewards are transparent, real time, and global. You don't wait for payday. You don't ask for raises. You deliver value. You get ownership in return. This is not just income, it's equity. It's not just work, it's freedom. Let's talk about it. Raise your hand. Any questions? Next month, we are pivoting to starting to really implement these technologies. You understand? We've all been part of it. We've given you Demo, the car situation. We've given you Helium Mobile. We've given you a slew of things. And I'm talking about years ago. I just stopped the deep end situation because I started to see how it was just getting out of hand. So we're getting back to the deep end group again. That's going to get launched next month. We're getting back to and when you think of deep end guys, it's we're going to start owning hardware, right? Hardware is going to be a big part of this protocol. You understand? Sharing of your data, being rewarded for sharing your data. Okay, so not only am I being rewarded in Helium Mobile tokens for having the phone, but I'm only paying $20 a month on top of that. I went from a family of four. Actually, between me and my wife, we were paying like $200 with T-Mobile. And then you put the kids on there, and I'm like, all right, now we're at $84. Family of four. Everybody's got a $20 situation. But then it's the inner working of it, watching my kids like, oh, this how many tokens I got, or bringing it down to their wallet, accumulating, seeing the value in it. That's the future. All right, Javon, what you got?
Hey Steve, what's going on, man?
Good brother.
Man, I want some information about the Helium Mobile.
What you got?
I'm with Verizon. I'm thinking about leaving them because I'm paying like almost $300 a month.
You know what's crazy about Verizon? Verizon prides itself on what? Customer service, right?
Right.
So riddle me this. You got great customer service. What do I need to be on customer service for with a phone company? When was the last time we dialed customer service from a phone company?
I never used it.
This shit dumb, right?
Yeah.
It's like all we could do is laugh and not cry, man. Verizon always bugged me out with that. And I picked up on that early in the game. All right, what you need from Helium Mobile?
How was the service and everything?
Man, listen, I don't have no problems, bro.
All right.
I don't have no problems. Listen, it's they were on it. They had the T-Mobile network partnership. Now with this new partnership with AT&T, it's opening up. I don't have issues. The only issue I could honestly say is when I went international and I tried to use their data roaming in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that ain't work. I needed my refund.
So
You know what I'm saying?
it was pretty good when you was in the French Quarter because I'm in New Orleans. I'm the one that hit you up on Instagram.
Oh my God, it was good.
Yeah.
Oh man, we should have grabbed something. I'm gonna be back down there again though.
Well, hit me up. I'll
Nah,
be watching your channel.
that for sure.
All right.
No, I didn't have any issues in the French Quarter. My wife has the phone. No issues at all. This thing works. Yeah, this thing works. I mean, it's T-Mobile. You'll get some places when I had T-Mobile, by the water, by the beach, Atlantic City, things like that. I don't go to those places anymore, but they used to be spotty spots but there's no more spotty locations in America like that. And then when you get a company like Helium Mobile, they're able to close off those because remember AT&T, everybody has spots in certain places. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're able to deploy these hardware devices indoors. So they have them in malls in Miami area, and that can give off certain things. So we just need more access to data, and this is why a company like Helium is poised for the future because there's not enough data coming from those towers. They've pretty much consumed all of that. So now you have cameras, You have street lights, you have cars, you have robots that are delivering food. Like all of this stuff needs to work and pull data. Vehicles, electric.
Man, I'm about to look into Helium Mobile, man. You and Champ doing some great work. I never heard nobody talk about nothing the way y'all talk about it, man.
I just let the people talk. But the one axe is like start putting the pressure on some of these podcasters, like, yo, what are y'all doing? They don't want the message to get out.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm just not supporting the nonsense anymore. You know what I mean? Some might call it hating. I'm not subscribing to that. You're purposely railroading information from getting out to the culture. Because clearly it's not destructive information. What it does is it goes against your advertisers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know the game that's being played out there.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. So I call on all these guys like Hope Bryant, like they'll answer every other comment but my comments. What's that about? Let's just talk about it. It don't got to be debated in person, and I mean, on live and things like that. It's like, no, maybe I could show you something, but I'm gonna need you to stop being so destructive on your platform. If you don't know about it, why would you even talk about it? They say things with strong conviction, like crypto's a scam. Like, come on, guys, seriously, this cryptocurrency is a scam?
I don't know who that is.
Google him because you want to be able to see his face when he does pop up somewhere, and you just walk up. I was at Earn Your Leisure. We did Invest Fest a few years back, and we had students that went and they were kicking it with us. We were at the booth, so we didn't see any of the headliners. It's like, oh, we came here for Bob Johnson and whatever, Robert Smith, and they walked out. They like, yo, I ain't dealing with that. They talk about keep putting money in your 401k, keep working hard. Like, what? I'm like, this is what we doing? Dante, what you got, man?
What up, Steve? How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed.
Man, it's a blessing to be here. I appreciate what every time, bro. Every time you bring it, both of y'all, I appreciate
We don't
you.
miss, huh?
Nah, man, y'all don't miss. You don't miss at all. Matter of fact, before I get to my question, I was looking at I don't know if it was Instagram. You'll know what I'm talking about when I say it, but uh, the master investor commented on one of your posts, and you was like, "Bring me on." It went silent. He didn't say nothing afterwards. And so it just speaks to what you're saying. Why he gonna come on there and gas you up like that, but he ain't trying to share the plug. You know what I'm saying?
So
But
let me just give you some backstory on him, right? So we actually go back and forth behind the scenes a lot, right? He's not a owner. I don't know if he has equity share or anything, but he's not the owner or founder of that
Mhm.
network. He's got his own
Right.
thing, right? So I don't even want to say too much, but it sometimes when you work for somebody or you work for systems and then they're very big now. You understand? They have a
Yeah.
lot of corporate sponsorship. They have a lot of institutional guys that are there. They're not there because they really care about giving like the right information. It's more of a let's just
It's they
control what the narrative is. You understand? That's how I'm viewing it. I'm not saying that that's the deal they thought they signed up for, but I'm just telling you that when you have certain advertisers, and I've been in this game too, so I read the terms and conditions, and they're like, "Well, you can't talk about this, and you can't do this," and I'm like, "I'm not coming on."
and I don't want it to sound like I'm saying nothing negative against him. I appreciate them for what they have contributed. I'll leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? They grabbed a lot of black people's attention and focused it towards the subject matter, and I give them that. But
100%.
I don't. I feel like I outgrew them because it just kind of stopped seeming as genuine to me. I read people. I don't have to know them to know. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, enough of that. I was wanting to ask you about Helium Mobile. Like, so I was going to switch over. I asked you when you first came back from Colombia about how it worked. I was ready to switch then, and then I paused because of how your international was. And I just want to make sure before I take that step because I depend on my phone like in America even, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just want to make sure that like is there certain spots in the country where if they don't have contributors that that your service may not be as well. And I'm in a, you know, I'm not in the country. I'm in Kansas City, so I'm in a decent enough size city. But if I'm driving off in the country somewhere, do I still have contact? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is there T-Mobile in Kansas City?
Yeah,
Are there people with, do you know anybody with T-Mobile?
yeah, definitely.
It's the same network. That was the
Oh,
deal that they signed. So it's not, Helium Mobile's not running 100% exclusively on Helium Mobile.
okay,
It's running off those T-Mobile and now AT&T platforms. They're working in conjunction with each other.
okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go on and do it because I feel like the more that I participate in these in all of this, the more I'll understand it and the more I'll be ready as new things come and as things start changing. Like we gotta participate. So I'm just gonna jump in it and
Yeah.
whatever it is, just be that.
And what I would tell you with the international situation, it was a quick pivot for me because I just went and got an eSIM. Right now that I know I'm going back and forth to Colombia, I popped in I got a SIM card now. So
Okay.
you still want whatever the strongest, because when you get these international roaming situations on your phone and you can talk in Mexico, it's not the service you're using here in America.
Right.
You're using their network. So if you just threw an eSIM in from their network, you'll probably get better data rates.
So I've just became aware of an eSIM when I started looking into helium, and I'm not fully even aware of what that is. So it's not a hard SIM card.
No, it's all
Okay.
digital, and you could have up to you could have multiple eSIMs in your phone right now. If I
Okay.
went to Mexico, I could have a Mexico eSIM company. Colombia, Mexico. Yeah, I mean, like you could have all of that.
And it just tap into whatever network is in that country.
Exactly. Because that's what we do now. We just don't realize that because the companies made it so easy, it's kind of built into your what you pay. That's why I
It
wasn't
is.
even tripping because even if I had to pay $10 for 7 days or whatever it was, because you figure most times you're on Wi-Fi, so you're not blowing through data. It didn't matter because I'm paying $20. You figure I went from over $200, $300 for a family of four to $80.
Mhm.
Just the cost savings in a year alone. And then we haven't even talked about the accumulation of those tokens. And when those things get to a certain price, forget about it.
And they
Forget
also
about
have
it.
like an internet thing you can put in your crib too.
Yep. I have a hotspot here. I have currently 3, 4 antennas in different places, long
Okay.
range. So they're giving off signal. If you I'll come on again and I'll do an updated situation. We'll probably do it on a weekend and I'll shoot it. And I'll show you guys the intricacy of the network. This was back in the day when we were researching on helium. This is what it all plays off of. And helium was considered the people's network. When I first got it, I said, champ, this is going to be a cell phone company. And then that's when the offspring of that was Helium Mobile, right? And then I looked at like the coverage map all over the world, even things that you could bring to like remote areas in Mexico or even Colombia. You know what I'm saying? Because now they have a partnership with one of the biggest Mexican telecommunication companies now.
Oh,
So
that's
think
what's
about
up.
it. Right. You doing business in Mexico and you got a couple of these towers. You understand? That's my next conversation with Helium Mobile is listen, how do I deploy this in Colombia where I'm at to create affordable cell phone plans for people? Because the only thing you could use up there is Starlink. I'm good on that guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Cause
see where I'm
I
going?
yeah
So
we got yeah. I'm
you
sorry.
got
Go ahead.
Starlink there?
No, so my brother is talking about getting Starlink, and we invested in like a multi-unit in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and it would and we rent it out when we not down there, so it would be perfect for us to have something if Helium is moving to Mexico, it would be perfect for us to set up something like that down there.
Because what happens is when your tenants come in there, they come on the free Wi-Fi. That's Helium. So everybody that comes to my house, they log on to the free Helium mobile network. I don't give you my personal stuff in my house.
Yeah. Do the antennas do anything? Like, are they putting out like bad EMFs or anything
Come
like
on,
that?
brother. You know me better than that. I already tested it.
All right.
I would not have this thing. And it really they're outside.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have it like that. I wouldn't have any other. Listen, there's things giving off EMF in this house, and I can't figure out what it is. When you
You
walk around
gotta
your house,
have it.
right? No, but it doesn't give that stuff off. These are like they're long range, but they don't go that far. It's like a mile. But when they start to interconnect with each other, they're pinging off of it because people aren't really like people are constantly moving. They're not so stationary,
Right.
right? Because when you home, you don't need your phone data. You're on your Wi-Fi in your house,
Yeah.
which gives off more EMF than we think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would tell you to take a close look at that and see if the area in Mexico you're in has that data coverage. And we could talk. You're on my list for this week to contact too. So we can kick it on that.
Right on. All right. Appreciate you.
My guy, always. Oh man, I got a heavy hitter coming up. Kurt.
Man, what's happening? I
Kurt.
came on. I came on a little late, and you was giving out free smoke coupons. Shit.
You about to? What are you gonna do, man? You gonna snap their necks right now?
I mean, I ain't even got to. Like, I caught the tail end of about, you was talking about how, John came on with the ignorant response, and it's sad that we see this in the community because we've had plenty of conversations, and it's like, you know, if you don't know what you're talking about, shut the fuck up. Like, simple as that. Like, yes, you're a high net worth. Cool. But if you're not educated in the particular subject matter you're speaking on, don't speak on it because you are just being destructive to people that may be wanting to get informed in the biggest wealth transfer possible that we are ever going to live through. So when you have somebody that comes and shills that type of negativity, and it's like, bruh, do you understand? Like, this is the first time ever investors in investing history have ever had a level playing field and can front run Wall Street. And you telling people that crypto is a scam, man, kill that bullshit. Like, I get tired of people because they think, because a lot of people, they fear others because the authority with money. And a lot of people have that fear embedded in them because they think, because a person of high value, that you can't check them or they just know everything. And it's like, nah, you talk to him just like the VP, the same way you talk to the janitor. It's like, nah, like you wrong. Like, you need to get informed before you just start spitting off this information on these networks that just so happen to be focused on minorities that can really, be like a choke point for freeing people mentally and financially because what's going on. The people on the call know what's going on. And when you see, I call people like that deterrence because it's like, what are you doing? So it's either two things that, resonate with me when I hear things like, number one, you're ignorant as fuck and should just shut up and don't speak on nothing you don't know. Or number two, you're getting compensated or told to put this type of information out. It's one of the two.
Right.
It's that's the only thing that makes sense. So, just I wish more people would be, at that level, more open to this transformative ecosystem that's taking off, whether people want to adapt or not. Like, me and you had a conversation a while ago, and it was along the lines of this: what's getting ready to happen. It's going to trump everything else, and people have no idea what's getting ready to happen. Like, that's why, when I share people and people think I'm crazy when I'm like, nah, like this asset that's at the center of the global financial system, it's gonna be a 3-digit asset by the end of the year. Point blank, period. Ain't no ifs and buts about it. Like, people have no idea of like the inner workings behind the scenes of things that the foundation already been done. The connection has already been made. The banks have already been connected. It's just, man, it's amazing. Like, we have all this progress behind the scenes, and we're right here at the cusp of regulation. And you have people that get on a platform and still say it's a scam. It's like, what are we doing, Steve?
Out here scamming the culture.
Yeah, listen, man, it's yeah. What they say? All skin folk ain't kin folk. I think you said it a while back. Who is teaching you? Who is teaching you? You got to be mindful of who you are
Hey, Miss
listening
Lady,
and taking
did you get
information.
your
So,
order?
Hey guys, mute up, mute up. Hold on, guys. They just gonna have a whole conversation.
Oh, okay.
Hey, mute up, mute up, mute up. All right, everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, Kurt, hold on. Kurt,
yeah, that boy had a whole conversation. I said, okay.
whole conversation.
But yeah, man, like I came on that piggyback, and you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, anything else you want me to tap on while I'm on? I jumped on real quick, and
No,
got
we
the
got it.
tail
We got
end.
it. Kurt's one of our heavy hitters. We go back and forth, but Kurt, you on the next 1% situation.
Oh, we can get real spicy in that bitch.
Yeah, we could let the gloves off. But guys, listen, this was all about the new middle class, and I'm telling you, I just gave you guys just four, right? We could have been on here all night. There's so many different protocols that are out there. We're gonna start back next month with introducing you guys to the protocols, getting you to become part of it. Dante had a good way of looking at the situation. When you start to understand how these systems work because you're a part of it, you start to, one, you're well informed. Two, you're starting to monetize things that you do on a daily basis. The hardest thing to do in marketing is change the consumer behavior and mindset. This is why this academy could seem like an uphill battle sometimes, because we've all been conditioned from school. What does school tell you? Go to school, go to college, get a job, get a pension, retire. And I'm like, that's not working like that. You know what I'm saying? And what happens to the guy who draws outside the circle? You get labeled. He's got ADHD, all the A's, man. Like everything but an A+ in class. Like, yo, all right, cool. I'm dumb then. But shit, the joke's on them now. Scribble outside those lines, guys. Trust me when I tell you that. So I'm gonna end with this one again, just so that way it hits home. All right. Your wallet becomes your proof of work. Your rewards are transparent, real time, and global. You don't wait for payday. You don't ask for raises. You only deliver value. You get ownership in return. It's not just income, it's equity. It's not just work, it's freedom. Let's talk about it. Like the good words of Champ. The Champ be having some. I'm not even gonna try to outro this situation. So y'all just figure it out. Maybe he'll patch it in or something. But he's got that. Um, don't be dumb. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, y'all know what I mean by that. And if you don't know me, like, listen, just start smarting up a little bit. No one is out here going to give you a handout or a hand up. There's only a few guys in the world that actually have the interest in trying to help people when the whole thing is sinking. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for those lost leaders that are out there like that. I've connected with a few of those guys, but it's not something that we find on a daily basis, especially within our community. And I'm not here to take leadership position or to be held at any standard. I'm right here. When it's decentralized and the table's round, you don't know who's at the head. I don't care. I just want everybody to execute, because at the end of the day, if only few have it, I know what that world looks like. It's not fun. And I know what it's like to be a minority in every room, in every neighborhood that we live in, and that shit's whack. So I just need more people barbecuing around me. You get what I'm saying? Let's get our shit together. That's it. Let's just get it together, guys. You are in the right place with two guys that really do care. And not so much even the caring for the people part. I just care about myself so much that I'm looking to succeed beyond measure. And I'm just a guy that just wants to carry everybody with me. I've always been like that, even to a fault. So if you're not part of the academy, skytonacademy.com. Guys, we're on borrowed time right now. And I'm telling you, if you're looking at this, the way the world is shaping right now, especially in the United States, it's going to be a dystopian society. You understand? We've told you guys about the social credit system. We've told you guys about CBDC, central bank digital currencies. They're just going to rename the stuff, man. He's doing it right now. You could be on a travel ban because of what you say. That's far worse than the central bank digital currency. We are just here to give you the raw information. We are not an affiliate of any one project or anything. We are not bought and sold by corporate. I don't care if YouTube monetizes this or it doesn't. But the one thing is, when people show up, it's all good. But the minute there's nobody on this call anymore, that's what I call a failure. So as long as it's me, there's Mike, and just one other person besides Champ, then I'm cool. And if you can't get those family members on there, I can guarantee you they're going to lean on you later. That's what people do who are laggers. But let me leave you with this one. Not everybody's going to make it. Trust me. When you were sitting on here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, listening to some guy who you had no clue what the hell he was talking about at some point, and you finally got up to speed, and then you figured things out, and then circumstances started to change around you. The only thing I ask for is you pass it along to somebody who's receptive. That's it. Just don't hold it to yourself. I made it. I fucking made it. I've done 1,000 of these things, guys. And I'm like, this was like, man, people are coming in and out the room, the mute situation. I can't with this. Like, put me on a network or something. Let me just go. I don't want to be the cameraman, the audio guy. Hear my wife laughing in the background. Man, I started off rocky. But I appreciate y'all, though. I closed that shit out, though. Straight up. Listen, anybody want to come on? Just unmute. Let's talk about it. YouTube. I ain't see that collection plate wasn't rocking over there, guys. I ain't on here preaching for no reason. No pressure. There's a lot of gems in there. Anybody?
How you doing, man? I got a question. This is Ralph, by the way.
Ralph, my guy.
You know, I need to hit you up first of all about the